This is Rugby Unity. I am David Pembroke, and Bella McKenzie. Hard to imagine a better start to the Women's Rugby World Cup.
Yeah, it was a great round of rugby. We saw a lot of high scores, and obviously we saw Wallaroos get the win first up. But yeah, great weekend of rugby. I don't think my sleep is thanking me right now, but yeah, it was great to kick things off in that style.
Yeah, look, across the board, I watched all of the opening match, and I've watched a fair few of the cut-down version, the 30-minute versions of the other matches on Stan. And probably the overwhelming thing that I've taken away from it is the quality of some of the athletes and most of the rugby being played, but particularly the fitness of all teams. Everyone seems to have got there in pretty good shape.
Yeah, definitely. I think very noticeable from the last World Cup, the fitness levels of the athletes. It just makes the game so much better, so much faster. I think the ball in play time has gone from 36 to 37 minutes, which is showing a really fast game of rugby with less stoppages. So yeah, really great to see. And hopefully as the tournament continues, we see a lot of great more rugby.
And the weather looks fantastic, and the stadiums in England look to be just about the right size, don't they? Because they're full. Northampton was not quite 100% full, but pretty full. Sunderland was obviously packed for the opening night, but also in York. So those sort of smallish English grounds at about that sort of 15 to 17,000 mark look just about the right size for the Women's Rugby World Cup at this point in time.
Yeah, you're right. I think it suited perfectly the opening games of the weekend. You know, it's who's going to go to England to watch Australia versus Samoa, but I mean the fans are turning out. I think the way that World Rugby have done it is really smart, just to put it in those smaller stadiums and still getting fans through the gate. So, yeah, I think they've done a really good job in that.
Okay, well, we're going to look forward to the second round, which takes place this weekend, and have a look at some of the matches ahead. But let's pick the eyes out of what we saw so far. And I don't think you can go past the performance of the English in the opening match at the Stadium Light in Sunderland, 69 points to 7 over the USA. But for mine, it was a real contest right up until the yellow card at about the 32nd minute. You know, USA were holding on, but once they got that yellow card, the floodgates opened a little, didn't they?
Yeah, definitely. I think Ellie Kildunne, she's a crucial part of the USA team, and for her to get that yellow card just before halftime really hurt the US. And I don't think they fully recovered. As you said, the floodgates kind of opened from there. And yeah, it was at a crucial time in the game, just before halftime. It's championship minutes. You don't want to let tries in on either side of halftime. So for them to let in, I think, 2 tries in that period where she was off, yeah, really, really hurt them, and they never fully recovered. In
our other Rugby Unity podcast that I do with Eddie Jones and Ewan McKenzie, we have been discussing quite regularly the impacts of yellow cards, and we did see it on the weekend in the Rugby Championship where the All Blacks, there were 3 yellow cards against Argentina, which made it very difficult for them. As a player, how are the coaches and how are the other players communicating to each other about yellow cards? How do you talk about it leading into games?
I think you have to practice for it. So every Tuesday, Test Match Tuesday, you kind of get scenarios. Maybe you're down a hooker, down a back rower. It's usually those people that kind of get carded, or a front rower if it's repeated infringements. So I think, yeah, just practicing with 13, 14 people on the field. I know at the last World Cup, we had a yellow card in just about every single game. I think one of our games we were down to 13 players, and it kind of makes you defend a bit better because you have to communicate a lot more and you have to really stay connected and really trust your insides and outsides. And we kind of made a joke we were a better team with 13 people on the field, which is crazy to say. But yeah, I think you have to practice for those moments. And I saw New Zealand went down to 13 people due to injury. And I heard a comment from their head coach, Alan Bunting, that he kind of left 13 people on the field because of instances where you do get yellow cards further on in the tournament. So not sure if smart in the opening game of rugby, and you're talking about player loads and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess that's one way to unfortunately do it as well.
Well, listen, before we leave that match, I was particularly impressed with the England fullback, Ellie Kildunne, just that try where she moved the ball forward, she kicked, she recovered the ball, just great skill. But also for another try for the wing where she sort of held up the pass, great instinct just to hold the ball close to the line. She's a classy player, isn't she?
Yeah, she's World Rugby Player of the Year, reigning World Rugby Player of the Year for a reason. She's electric. She's a great ball player as well, but she's also got that speed, which is you can't buy speed. So you never know if she's going to run, kick, take the line on. So yeah, she's one of those players you definitely want in your team. But she also has a really good kicking game that we haven't really seen yet from England in these opening stages. So she's known to kick a 50-22 or two. But yeah, if you've got that attacking threat and the skill that she possesses, yeah, why wouldn't you run the ball out?
Yeah, and she well supported by the two England wingers who are also lightning fast as well, aren't they?
Yeah, Jess Breach, Abby Dow, they're great players, and I played with Abby Dow as well at Harlequins, and she's just a classy player, a really great finisher for that England team.
So Australia convincing against Samoa as an Australian player. What was your assessment of the way that they played?
Yeah, I think they were really clinical at set piece. They scored a lot of tries from close range, a lot of maul tries, which I think was probably their game plan to take them to set piece. We know Samoa aren't a very strong set piece team. So, yeah, I think both of the hookers scored 2 tries, one from close range, a few off mauls. So, yeah, I definitely think the game plan was kick the ball out of our half and kind of pin Samoa in their half and, yeah, get those close range tries, get the forwards working.
What did you make of the Scotland-Wales match? Scotland convincing winners 38 points to 8. Wales, pretty disappointing, really, weren't they?
Yeah, I think ever since that win against Australia up in Ballymore, they've kind of taken the foot off the pedal. But Scotland is probably one of the most improved teams I've seen from watching them in Six Nations this year to now. I think their fitness level has improved. They're playing some great attacking rugby. They scored a try in the first minute with Fran McGee, who had a hat-trick on her Rugby World Cup debut. So, yeah, with Helen Nelson pulling the strings at 10, and then you've got Lisa Thompson damaging centre up the middle and really laying a platform for the backs to open up. I think, yeah, Scotland, one of my most improved teams to watch for the World Cup.
Where do you think they might end up? Where can they threaten? Can they get to the semi-finals, Scotland?
I think they could make quarters. I think as it stands, they'd be versing, I think, New Zealand in a quarter. I'm not too sure what the math is with all of that. But, yeah, I definitely think the way they're going, they'll come second in their pool, for sure.
Certainly, the French against Italy, convincing winners 24 points to 0. There was just something about the French, to me, that I just like the look of them. I think there's a lot of improvement in their side. And forgive me for not remembering the halfback's name, who's their real leader. She didn't play.
Yeah, Pauline Podun. She must be out for another week. Yeah.
Yeah, she was suspended. So I think bringing in your best player, who's then going to be able to organise both sides of the ball, I think that there's something about them. I don't know what it was. I was just watching. It was a bit like when I was watching South Africa. Just thinking to yourself, there's improvement here, and they could do something. The French.
Yeah, not the finished product. I think they had that slip against England a couple of weeks ago pre-World Cup. But yeah, to see them defeat Italy 24-0 at Sandy Park is great for their confidence. And they have a lot of young players coming through as well that don't have much World Cup experience. But their forward pack is quite dominant. And yeah, like you said, adding someone like Pauline back in, I think only lifts them. And yeah, I think they'll go a long way in the tournament. They always kind of end up semi-finals. They peak around the right time.
Yeah. Ireland convincing winners in the end over Japan, but it was a bit stiff, wasn't it? I thought the Japanese was so brave, and they got a couple of dud calls. There was an obvious shepherd, I thought, when the Ireland scored one of their tries, one of their longer range tries. And then there was a turnover where the Japanese were almost there, and then there was a runaway. So those, sort of 14-point turnarounds on a couple of occasions, really cost the Japanese. And clearly there was a significant size difference. The Japanese just don't have the bulk of either the European or the Pacific sides as well. So, but they were pretty clever, the Japanese, I thought, the way, and pretty skillful in the way they went about playing their match.
Yeah, they're a really smart tactical team. They've got Beric Barnes as their attack consultant, kicking coach. So they have a really classy kicking game, the 9-10 fullback, basically their whole back line. So, yeah, the 9 really puts in clever over and behinds, and the 10 can really, really pin you down in your corners. But, yeah, like you said, they just didn't have the physicality to match it with the Irish. But, yeah, really skillful side and had a few chances there. I thought Eve Higgins was offside in that intercept, but there is a TMO, so maybe she was on. Maybe she just made it back on side. But yeah, those kind of instances really hurt them in the back end there.
Yeah, but I think that was the other thing I liked about the games. Whether it was the Spanish, the Brazilians, the Japanese, the Fijians, even the Samoans. But even when they were well behind, there was no lack of effort. There was no sort of giving up. And speaking to Ewan McKenzie during the week, he sort of likened it to school rugby, where sometimes one side gets ahead of the other, but there was no lack of effort, there was no lack of endeavour, and I really enjoyed that side of it, that everyone kept and stayed in the game as best as they possibly could.
Yeah, I think if you listen to a lot of the post-match interviews, you can hear the winning captain usually say that the scoreline doesn't reflect the intensity or the physicality of the game, which you could definitely see, especially with Fiji, Samoa, Brazil. Those kind of teams didn't really. They kind of felt like they were always still there, even though the scoreline didn't reflect it. So yeah, really positive. And Brazil's first time in a World Cup versus South Africa. Yeah, so credit to them as well for sticking in there.
What did you think of the South African side?
Yeah, I thought they were immense. I think Azeza Hele, the number 8, she's a damaging ball carrier. And then you've got the
give me the ball. She's sort of like just
And
let's not mess around here. Let's just get stuck into it.
Yeah, exactly. She's kind of always there following as well. They scored a great long range try off Nardine Roos. Their little 9 did a chip and chase and hit the fullback back and then back to Azeza Hele for her hat trick. So yeah, I think they're a really strong, promising side. They have probably the best scrum in women's rugby. And I saw a video of their entire bench getting put on, similar to what the Springboks do with the bomb squad. So they have, incredible depth, and it's a like-for-like swap in that instance. So, yeah, I think they can go a long way into the tournament. I'm not sure if their fitness levels are at the standard of the other top 4 teams, but really promising signs for South Africa.
Yeah, that Nardine Roos is a clever half, isn't she? She really understands the game and the way that she was able to organise her forwards and release the back, and her decision making around the base of the ruck. Really clever. She's a neat player.
Yeah, definitely, she is.
And Malinga out wide too. The winger, the left wing. She has got genuine pace, and so if they can create some opportunities for her, I think she might threaten for the scoring the most tries for mine anyway, because every time she just looks like, and it doesn't matter where she is on the field, she has such pace that she just takes off and she knows where she's going. So, yeah, really impressive, I thought, South Africa. But, yeah, that's a good point I think you make around the fitness. They just don't quite look at that top level. But, again, yeah, the depth and the quality is there. I think that instinct, that rugby skill is there. So, anyway, but yellow cards, who knows? Big games. They may come up with a game plan that, takes advantage of their depth. Who knows? But certainly impressive in their win over Brazil. And the final match were the New Zealanders over Spain. Again, your views?
Yeah, I think Georgia Miller, impressive on her Rugby World Cup debut. We spoke about her in the preview, and she's a freaky footy player, isn't she? She's so classy to watch.
Oh, my gosh. Like the footwork. Yeah, the footwork for that try where I've not seen footwork like that in years. She danced Or like in about a metre, she moves 3 or 4 times in different direction. But the other thing is she doesn't seem to lose any pace when she steps. So she's moving laterally, but she's accelerating at the same time. It's so good to watch.
It is. It's box office for the Black Ferns team. I think they were kind of missing that bit of X factor in the forward pack. I know their backs you always talk about their electric backs, but I think Georgia Miller adds a different element to that forward pack that is kind of going to be scary to watch in the coming games. Their number 8, Liana Michaela-Tui, player of the match. Yeah. She was immense, as was Layla Saeed, the other back rower. And I think they might have just picked it out of a hat who got player of the match for those two. But classy back row for the Black Ferns.
Yeah, I thought they were powerful. They were threatening. But the other thing I liked about those, the 6 and the 8 was the intent as well. They were, they were a bit like, the Springbok number 8. Just give me the ball and let's just rip in. There was no sense of wanting to slow the game down. They just wanted to keep moving forward, dragging the team forward. And another one of my favourite players is the young teenage wing, Braxton Sorensen McGee. She looks like she looks like she's grown in the last like about when they played Australia in Newcastle. She looked like she didn't look very big. She was electric, but she didn't look that strong. But I don't know. She looks in the game the other night. She looked like she'd grown a few inches and put a bit of weight on.
She probably has since her debut. I mean, she's only 18, so she's got a lot of growing left to do. But really good to see her on the wing. And I think Renee Holmes back at fullback really linked the backs with the forwards. And I know New Zealand have had a few struggles with their goal kicking throughout Pac 4 and the Laurie O'Reilly series. So it was really good to see Renee kick. I think she got 7 from 8 conversions and can kind of keep the New Zealand pundits a bit quiet for now with the goal kicking.
Yeah. Sorensen McGee, not only is she a great attacking player, but I was also impressed with some of her defence. Very physical. She was moving up and she was whacking people. And again, not that big a girl, but she didn't mind mixing it with some of the others. And so I think there's good signs for New Zealand. And I think as we discussed last week, perhaps they haven't been seen quite at the top of their game, but there's a lot of growth in that side. There's a lot of class in that side. And I think they'll grow into this competition. And I think the pressure is going to build on England. There's no question that, as they roll through the tournament, the expectations are going to grow. The English press are going to come into it. The English media are going to come into it. And there'll be a lot of noise and there'll be a lot of expectation. The Lionesses have set the scene around the football. So I think, there's some footsteps there already that the English might be starting to look behind them, because they might have been thinking, okay, they're not quite there, but, some classy performances. And Canada against Fiji as well. Julia Schell, 6 tries, classy player, but Canada looked to be quite a complete team, particularly their forward pack. Really big, strong, physical team that likes to mix it up.
Yeah, like you said, Julia Schell, I think she was just on the receiving end of some great lead-up play, and to score 6 tries in a World Cup game, all in the second half as well, which I found interesting. I think the score was only 21-7 at halftime, so I think they must have gone a bit of a halftime spray and really came out firing. But as you said, their forwards, to have Sophie de Goody back as well, she was kind of their leader and probably one of the world's best rugby players. So to have her back interlinking with the forwards, I think they're a very skillful pack and a lot of short tips. And I think I saw at one stage de Goody was getting the ball out the back off a centre. So to have someone like her back in your side, it only boosts your confidence levels as well. But one thing I did notice about Canada, they scored 11 tries and only kicked 5 conversions. So goal kicking percentage not great, and could come back to hurt them in the later stages of the World Cup. So hopefully,
if they don't fix it, has it been a long-term problem for them, their goal kicking?
Most games I've watched, Sophie de Goody was their regular kicker, but she was out injured most of this year. She missed all of Pac 4, and I think Julia Schell was the second kicker. And I think they were just lucky to score a few tries and didn't really have to come down to the conversions. But yeah, just something I noticed with them throughout the year, and hopefully they can tidy that up.
So really, as we said at the opener, it was such a great first round, and really, the women's game clearly has taken a step forward, and we've seen that over the weekend, which is tremendous. So wrapping it up, just that first round, what are the 2 or 3 things that you take out of it as we head into the second round? What were your sort of key takeaways?
I think set piece definitely wins you games. All those teams that put big margins on had basically 100% line out and scrum success. So you obviously can't win a game without set piece, very crucial. But I think the kicking game of the sides as well, it really can get your team out of trouble. I think those 2 were kind of my big ones. And then it kind of gives you that freedom to play inside their own half. So, yeah, I think set piece and the kicking game will become crucial as the tournament goes on.
Would you pick a team from the first round who perhaps surprised you with their depth and their quality?
Yeah, Scotland for me. I watched a few of their games and we versed them at the last World Cup, and watching their Six Nations, the lead up there, their attack was kind of something that was missing. They're obviously a strong defensive team and have good set piece, but yeah, I really liked the way that they were attacking and using their wingers, Fran McGee, Chloe Rowley. Their centres were impressive, but yeah, Helen Nelson, the 10 for me, she got a great kicking game. But yeah, her running game was really, really used against Wales. So yeah, Scotland for me were kind of that team to watch. What about you, David? What did you notice?
Oh, well, for me, France is the side. I don't know why, and I don't know what it is, but it's one of those things that when you watch. It's just that you sort of, I don't know what it was, but I just kept watching them thinking there's something here. There's a lot of improvement here, and with that experienced leader coming into the side, I think that could make an enormous difference, because particularly I think in the women's game, the half plays a critical role because of the set piece and because of the linking to the backs and because of the centrality of that position. I think you really do need to have a very good halfback, and it's going to be the sides who've got those real leaders in at that position who are able to organise their sides that I think are going to move through the tournament. I think the English half had a very good game in the opening weekend as well, and again, the opening match, and she clearly is a great leader of that side as well, and organises the team particularly well. So yeah, it's just an observation for mine. So France, but again, how good. How good. I can't wait for this weekend to get into it again, because it's just super exciting to see look forward to these games, and we'll go through them now. And a big shout out to everybody who listened to the program last week. You'll be pleased to know, Bella, that we've got listeners in about 35 countries who are tuned in to Rugby Unity. So a big welcome to all of you, and stay with us, because the other thing that we are announcing today as well is another program on Rugby Unity. Bella McKenzie will be talking to Emily Chancellor every week for the next 3 weeks at least about what's life like at Rugby World Cup, not only about the Australians, but what else is Emily Chancellor seeing there in the UK on the ground? What is she seeing in some of the opposition? How are they preparing? So we will take you inside the Wallaroos preparation for the 2025 Rugby World Cup when Bella McKenzie speaks to Emily Chancellor. So that is certainly something to look forward to. So don't miss that. Make sure you subscribe to Rugby Unity so you don't miss a moment. So round 2 kicks off. We have Canada against Wales, and based on the first round, we couldn't expect anything other than a pretty decisive win from the Canadian side.
Yeah, I think they're going to go strength from strength as the tournament goes on. So yeah, I think Canada will win that game quite comfortably, but I want to see a better response from Wales, and I know their coach Sean Lynn, he'll probably try and make them get the best out of this week. So hopefully they can put in a better performance.
Yeah, he was pretty disappointed, wasn't he? Some of his comments after the game, I don't think he felt that the girls, the performance didn't match their preparation. was the line that I saw, that they just maybe the big stage, maybe understanding it was such an important match for them against Scotland. Because it was one of their big pool matches, and this is no bigger pool match that they've got to face this week. So let's hope that Wales can recover. It'd be good to see Wales, the Welsh rugby at the moment, men's and women's, tough times there, and we need Wales to be strong in both the women's game and the men's game. So best wishes to everyone in Wales at the moment as you work through some of those challenges you've got ahead of you, but I'm sure that you'll be able to do that. Second game, again, Scotland-Fiji. Would obviously expect that the Scottish team, if they perform as they did against Wales, to win well. But again, Fiji were brave, weren't they, against Canada? They just stuck at it, stuck at their task. And I think a second opportunity, they'll probably play better than they did in the first round.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Fiji, they're a bit of a kinder surprise. You never know what you're going to get on any given day. So hopefully you can see them string a few offloads. I don't think they threw that many offloads in the game against Canada. So yeah, I'd love to see them attack a bit more. And we know they have that flair. So yeah, but I think Scotland, if they can play the way they did against Wales and hold on to that physicality, they should come away with the win.
Yes, I'll be watching with probably one eye closed England-Samoa. Anything could happen. That could be a cricket score.
Yeah, I think so. Hopefully England play their C-strength team, which is still quite a scary prospect. They've got incredible depth. But, Samoa, full credit to them as well, back in the World Cup since 2014. And, they are a really physical side. And I don't think they played their best against Australia. Definitely they played a lot better in that Aussie versus Samoa game. That was a little while back. So, hopefully they can really come together this week and put in a performance they can be proud of.
But, let's be realistic about, the investments that have been made in English women's rugby over many, many, many years compared to the investments in Samoan rugby. Of course, England are going to be dominant. And as you say, I imagine that, it won't be the first 15 and it'll be, players, because this will be one of the games that the squad, yes, they'll want to win the game, but the coaches want to be able to give their players a run. They don't want to just roll through just with the one team from week to week, particularly in World Cups. You do want to keep players playing because that's what they like to do. And as you well know, it's the management of the squad which is a particular challenge during World Cups, because everyone wants to play. Everyone thinks they're worthy of selection. Everyone, likes to be on the team. And as I often say in the teams that I've always been involved in, selection day, you've got 15 people who are happy. You've got 8 who aren't as happy as the 15, and then the rest of them are not very happy at all. The
rest are locked in their rooms with their phones on, do not disturb.
Exactly. Pulling out the Cupid dolls, sticking pins in. But then this is the match of the round. Not just because we are Australians and interested in the Australians, but this is the contest of the weekend. This is everything. USA versus Australia. What did you think of, yes, England got away from USA in the end, but as I mentioned, up until that yellow card at the 30th minute, they were mixing it with, the top-ranked team. And, clearly Australia had a good run out against Samoa, but USA have had the benefit of playing that tough match against England. Give us your assessment. What happens in this? What happens this weekend?
I think it's going to be a very close game. I think USA's physicality is something that they showed that they can do that against the number one side in the world. They just, losing Ellie Kildunne, I think really, really changed the momentum of that game, unfortunately for them, because she is such a huge part of their team. And I think she's on watch. She needs to really, and I know what she did wasn't as cynical as what happened in Pac 4, but I think she's on watch with the referee. So she really needs to stay disciplined if the US have any chance of beating the Wallaroos. But yeah, I think the Wallaroos will win it in a tight one. I think we've got some classy backs that really know how to finish. So, yeah, I think just winning that physicality first and foremost up front, and then, yeah, getting the ball out wide to Desi Miller and Maya Stewart through Caitlin Hulse, I think will be huge for the Wallaroos this weekend.
Can we mix it up with their forwards? Because they do have a powerful pack. That is the big challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it always is. Australia is always probably a smaller pack compared to these Northern Hemisphere teams or even the US and Canada. But yeah, I think we have, when we can match it physically, like you saw against New Zealand in the last Laurie Riley game in Wellington, when we can match it with the forwards, we really can play some rugby. So I know that the girls will be up for this one. And yeah, they'll kind of take a bit of pride in that, knowing that they are a bit smaller. But yeah, I'm sure that they'll come out firing and really be dominant there.
But in that match against New Zealand, yes, the first half was encouraging, but we did fall away in the second half, the Wallaroos.
Yeah, we did. I think we really need to utilise the bench a lot better. I personally would go with a 6-2. One of my good friends, his partner Maya Stewart is in the team, Will Sirhorn. He likes to think we should do a 7-1 this weekend against England just to really match it. And we do have a utility player, Tia Hines, that can play 9, 10, 12 fullback wing if she wanted to. So yeah, personally I think a 6-2, Will thinks a 7-1, but anything to just match it with that physicality and let our backs kind of work off the back of that.
Who has to lead? Who in the Australian forward pack has got to really sort of take them on? You know, look forward and say, righto, I'm ready for you. Play like, say, the New Zealand back row played in their opening match against Spain. That real aggression, that real, I want to mix it up. Because who do we look to in the Australian team that is going to be that talisman who carries the pack forward?
I think Feliki Pohiva, the front rower, she was damaging for the Waratahs this year, and I know when I see her make a big hit or have a really great carry up the middle, it feeds into the rest of us and it makes you think, oh, I can do that too. She's doing that. So I think if Feliki can get going up front, she's really hard to stop, and she's got amazing groundwork, and I think that's what people kind of miss with her. They see the big carries, but they don't see how quick she is on the ground to get that ball back for the 9 to get away. So if Feliki Pohiva can be dominant up front, I think Boo, the number 8, Piper, the 6, I think they'll work really well together and feed off that, because those two as well have a really strong running game and are really classy players in their own right. So I think, those two really need to step up in the back row and be physical and match it with the US. And I think people will feed off the back of that.
Because this is the sort of quarterfinal qualification match, isn't it, really? Whoever wins this will go through to the quarterfinal. Yeah,
exactly right. It's probably one of, or the most high-pressure game a lot of these girls would have played in. The Spine's probably quite inexperienced in these big matches, but I know that hopefully they have a good game plan this weekend against the US, and they can really stick it to them and get that win.
Well, certainly we do have, the back three to score points if the space can be created. But it's going to be a big challenge against the USA, because I would have thought that even though it was 69 points to 7 against the USA, that they would have taken a lot of confidence out of the way they played that match. I reckon that USA would have thought, we know that we can mix it. We know we can do it, and if they can take that sort of first 30 minutes and into this weekend and turn it into 60, 65, keep all their players on the field, no yellow cards, play disciplined rugby, I think that's going to be a really big challenge. So you're tipping Wallaroos?
Yeah, I think Wallaroos will win it in a close one. I think the last game they played, it was like 29-17 or something like that. So I'm thinking 21. No, I'm thinking 17-5. Wallaroos.
17. Okay, 17-5. I reckon there might be a few more points in it than that. And
they're both defensively strong as well. That's the thing. Like, Australia didn't let in a point from Samoa, but again, we didn't really see Samoa's attack. So I think it's going to be quite close.
I reckon it's going to be I think USA will win. I think I do. I think the confidence that they will take out of that first 30 minutes, and knowing that when they The yellow card came. The problem started after that. But if I was them, if I was in their team and I was at the end of that match, I would have been thinking to myself, okay, we've got a big match this weekend. You would have been around those girls after and clipping it up and showing them and saying, look at this, look at this, look at this. I think they'll take a lot of belief and confidence out of it. And unless Australia's going to have to play as better than they've played probably, they're going to have to repeat the standard that they showed against New Zealand in that match in Wellington earlier this year and more to be able to stick at it. But I'm a commentator. I'm looking
I'm
at
always
it
going
from
to back the Wallaroos.
Yeah.
I'm always going to back them. I've been in camp with them. I know that they have the ability to get it done. It's just being consistent, like you said. So, hopefully we can see that consistency. And I'm sure it'll be a close one, though.
Yeah, and look, I think that they will take a lot of confidence out of that win over Samoa, but I just think that the USA will take more confidence out of having played against England as they did in that match. But anyway, put a circle around that one. That is the must-watch for this weekend. That's the one, and I think everyone in Australian rugby will be watching that because, I don't know, well, that's the difference between a successful World Cup and, I won't call it a disaster, but I will call it a big disappointment. Very big disappointment if we're not able to do that because I don't think that we're any chance of beating England. I just think they showed enormous quality in that opening I think we're a good distance from them. So anyway, let's wait and see. Certainly something to look forward to. Set your clocks for that one, people, because that will be a crackerjack game of rugby. Now, quickly running through the rest of them, Ireland, Spain. Clearly, Ireland will win that. New Zealand, Japan. New Zealand will win that. Italy, South Africa. I think Italy might have been a little bit disappointed in the way that they played against France, but yeah, I don't think they're going to trouble South Africa if South Africa play as they did in the first game. I think, as you said, there's just probably a bit too much power up front. And, of course, France against Brazil, that will be conclusive as well. I imagine can you see anything in those games that people should be looking to or for?
I think Italy, South Africa, Italy really need to win to keep their quarterfinal hopes alive. But yeah, as you said, South Africa probably will be too strong, too powerful. But I know Italy would have been disappointed with their set piece on the weekend. So I think if they can tidy up that, they may be in with a chance. But yeah, I think South Africa will be a bit too damaging for the Italians.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I didn't take much from the Italians. I didn't really feel that there was much there. I would have been. You would have been disappointed, if you were an Italian fan with that effort against the French. But who knows? Who knows? Rugby's a funny game, and hopefully the weather stays dry and we get some open rugby. But yeah, it's such a thrill, I think, so far to see and to be able to. Everyone was hoping that we were going to see big improvements on the field, and we've seen that. Everyone was hoping that we're going to see great crowds, and we've seen that. Everyone was hoping that the weather would stay nice. We've seen that. From what I'm seeing around some of the social media content, people are, there's this wonderful sort of atmosphere, festival atmosphere that you always have at World Cups around the game, outside. England's such a great country to visit, in the pubs and going for walks and just the whole cultural experience of time spent in England. So, I think so far so good. And, for this weekend, apart from USA, Australia, what else would you be tipping for a highlight for people to keep an eye on?
I think the New Zealand-Japan game, we saw Japan have some classy, skillful players. If they can match New Zealand's physicality, I think the score will eventually blow out in New Zealand's favour. But I think the first half could be some great rugby to watch with the Japanese skill level, their kicking game. And I think we'll see some great attacking rugby from New Zealand. And I wonder if they'll change their lineup to probably more of a full-strength team. I know Kelly Brazier is not usually the first choice 10. Rue Demont is usually their first choice 10. So I wonder if they'll mix up their team and put Sylvia Brunt back in the starting team. I know they've got a few injuries as well, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so I wonder what their team will look like this week.
All right, well, that's something to look forward to. And you're certainly looking forward to, I hope, your debut as a host, your chat with Emily Chancellor.
Yeah, really excited. I've never hosted a podcast before, a bit nervous. Want to do as well as you, David. But no, Chance is one of my good friends, and I know she'll make it lots of fun. And yeah, she's got a great rugby brain. She's just a great human all around. So yeah, it'll be really good to chat to Chance and get all the insights of World Cup life, tour life.
Yeah, and look, I think it's just a wonderful opportunity for the audience to learn and to listen and to understand and to, as you say, she's a real character, Emily Chancellor, and a great leader in that Australian side. And I'll certainly be interested in your conversation with her about how the Australians have prepared this week and how they are feeling going into what is, a massively high pressure week with massive expectations, and how are they dealing with that? And certainly for her as one of the leaders, well, she's the captain. How is she leading the side this week? How is she dealing with that? But I'm sure you've got plenty of questions for Emily Chancellor. So please, the audience, make sure you tune into that conversation, because you will get, as I say, the inside run. But listen, Bella, thank you so much for joining us again. We will be back at the same time next week for a review and preview review of the second round, preview of the third round of the Women's Rugby World Cup, where the energy never stops. I think that's the saying for the tournament, and certainly I know World Rugby would be absolutely thrilled with what we've seen so far, and to see that the growing numbers of people who are engaging with it, the numbers of people who are tuning in to watching it. It was great to see here in Australia that the Wallaroos made the nightly news. The big television stations are following the Wallaroos as well, which is exciting for the game. So lots of exposure, lots of growth, and certainly here at Rugby Unity, our mission is to help secure the future prosperity of rugby union around the world, and the women's game is central to that mission. So a big thanks to Bella McKenzie again, and to you, the audience, a big thanks once again. You can like, you can subscribe, you can jump onto the Rugby Unity Substack for the latest information about the game. But for the moment, please be kind to each other. My name is David Pembroke, and it's bye for now.